morning. This is Amaka from Mind of Makus. It's lovely to be here again. Life has been lifing as usual. I hope that you're getting on well. I hope you're doing all the things you want to do. I hope you're feeling safe in your life and in, your workplace and everywhere. The world is kind of a bit hectic at the moment, but I hope that you find places where you can be yourself, where you can say what's on your mind, where you can do what you want to do. I hope that the people around you make you feel loved and safe. So today I want to talk about safety in relationships. It's a topic that came to mind recently because of my experiences, and as I say, I always like to share things that I have experience of and not just shooting stuff that you can Google. And I thought I was talking about safety in relationships and just cover what we can today, and maybe pick it up if you have any questions or if anything comes out from your responses, we can talk a bit more about it. And this morning I've gone to the gym, I'm back. I'm supposed to be getting kids ready for school, but I thought I'll do it in the morning when I'm fresh. My brain is still going from that gym, positive, dopamine, serotonin, all that stuff. So let's talk about physical safety in relationships. And when I talk about relationships, I'm using the term broadly. I'm talking about family relationships, I'm talking about romantic relationships, I'm talking about friendships, I'm talking about work relationships. And that's why I said that we probably won't cover everything that needs to be covered today. But let's talk about safety, and let's start from physical safety. And I know that for most of us that were born in the 80s and 90s, there was a lot of physical harm that was done to us in our family relationships. What nowadays would be classed as child abuse was normal. We grew up getting beaten with sticks, getting beaten with spatulas that are used for cooking because it was the closest thing in the kitchen. We grew up getting used to being beaten with slippers, any object really, tree branches, brooms, name it, you guys, now, 80s and 90s children. And that's no more acceptable. And I think that a lot of us have been left with the scars of that, so that we kind of are a bit skittish or a bit uncomfortable with physical intimacy, because our first contact with people that we trusted the most was harmful. And so you will hear people that say things like, I don't like to be hugged, assuming you don't have any sensory problems or neurodivergent preferences. I'll say people don't like to be hugged, people don't like to be touched, people don't like people coming near them, people don't like people making eye contact with them, because in those days when they give you that eye, you know that you're in trouble. And I know that some of you will be like, oh my god, could that be me? Is that what's happening? But it's different for everybody. I'm not saying that is you. I'm saying that sometimes you need to check by yourself and see why you don't like some things. In my own experience, I found that I didn't like people coming really close to me because first of all, I think I had an issue with sensory processing. So I didn't really like that people being in my space, invading my personal space, like most people. And the beating as well, it wasn't a very confidence building experience. So I felt very unsafe when adults especially came close to me as a child. So you know how some children are very cuddly and all that? It's because they feel safe. They feel safe. That's why they do that. I didn't feel safe as a child. And you move on to relationships, and there are difficulties there as well, physical closeness and intimacy. I'm talking about romantic relationships as well. And if people don't get it, then you get called frigid, you get called a man hater, you get called a love hater, or you get called all sorts of names. And in friendships, you get people that say, I don't trust people, or I don't make friends, or I don't, friendship is not my thing. There are reasons for all those kind of things. So let's stick with the physical closeness. Sorry, there's a bit of noise in the background that is distracting me. One of the kids is crying, but they are safe. They're with somebody who is safe. Anyway, so think about it. Where do you feel unsafe physically? Think about the situations where physically you're not safe. So it could be that housing is a problem for you. It could be that your workplace, you feel overexposed with not having a desk for yourself. It could be that in your friendships, every time you go to your friend's house, they are not home and they don't tell you, or you make plans and they cancel. Those kind of things can make people feel unsafe. Emotionally as well, safety is such a big thing in all our relationships. Just imagine you tell your friend something that they shouldn't tell anybody, and then you hear it from somebody who isn't even your friend. I'm sure that has happened to you. We all learn it in one way or the other, whether you learn it in high school or you learn it in university or you learn it in the workplace. Or you tell your sibling something and they go and tell your parents, or they tell another sibling without informing you that that's what they plan to do. Those kind of things can make us feel emotionally unsafe. Or people who accuse you of doing things that you have not done. Unfortunately, I've talked about this before. Some of us grow up being accused of stealing when maybe they hadn't done, or cheating in an exam, or taking your friend's boyfriend, that kind of thing. If it's a false accusation, it's quite a big thing with quite serious emotional implications for your safety in relationships, because then you start to feel like, when I get close to people, they always accuse me of stuff, so I'm just going to stay away. I'm not going to interact with anybody. I'm not going to share things. I'm not going to ask people for things. I'm not going to. And so you go into maybe a romantic relationship with that mindset, and you're in need and you don't feel safe enough to tell your partner that this is what's going on with me. I need this, I need that. You just can't. And unfortunately, this can lead to you being partnered with somebody who doesn't even really understand you. And if you move on to getting married, that can really create quite a bit of a problem in the long term, because you get into a state where you are not safe and you don't really show your true self and you're acting the relationship out. In marriage, everything just comes out, just because of the amount of time that you spend together. And it now starts to look like I married the wrong person, or I didn't know who you were, or you were pretending, or all that kind of accusation comes up. Sometimes it's because people don't feel safe enough in the first instance. So think about your emotional relationships with your friends, where you've been betrayed, where you've made a decision to never do something again because somebody did this to you 15 years ago, 20 years ago. You can heal from it. You can try again. You can learn new things. You are not a tree. Even trees bring out new roots and branches. So you can learn new things. So think about emotional safety, and what are the kind of situations where you feel like, oh my God, I have to be on guard. Think about them. See what you can do to improve on them. See what you can do to relax a little bit, and try baby steps. Don't now go and give somebody your ATM pin just because you want to practice emotional safety. They clear your account. Amaka did not send you message. So start with baby steps. See what you can do to build a bit more safety around you. Trust people around you with small things, and then build it up like that. You have a work colleague in your previous work who has betrayed you, even in your current job who has betrayed you. You're supposed to do a project together. They took the project and they put their name on it and they didn't give you any credit. That happens in the world, but it doesn't mean that everybody is like that. So that safety also in the workplace means that you can explore new things, you can try new things, you can put yourself forward for opportunities when you feel safe. So that mindset of how people say, I'm just going to do my work and go home. I'm not going to try and win any awards. I'm not going to try and look for any opportunities. I'm not going to try and, break the status quo. In this place where they don't sponsor people for masters, I've tried and they rejected me once, so therefore I'm not trying again. Meanwhile, some other people are getting sponsored for, even if it's a diploma or a course somewhere. But you've not applied because the first time they rejected you, and it was done in a way that it hurt you and it made you feel unsafe because you exposed yourself and told them that you had a need, and then they kind of snapped you down. Try again, because those kind of things break your confidence. You're not trying again just to get another no. You're trying again because they can't break your confidence, and if you keep trying and persevere, maybe one day you will get something from it, and you may even open doors for other people coming up behind you. Make a case for what you want. This is even in your romantic relationships. You want something, there's a mutual understanding that maybe you and your partner, you provide for each other or you support each other in something. You do your part. Expect your partner to do their part. Don't give them a pass and say, oh, they can't do this, they've never done it before. They can learn. If there's something you want your partner to be doing, let them learn how to do it. If you want to be supportive to help them to learn, send them YouTube videos on the topic. There's a YouTube video for anything, and there's a blog for everything under the sun. Nothing is new under the sun. Whatever situation that you're going to where you feel unsafe, especially in romantic relationships, people often kind of hide what they need. So for instance, maybe you have a financial need or you have an emotional need. You like to sleep with the lights on. Your partner sleeps with the lights off. When the light is off, you don't like it. Let them know. Or you're about to get intimate and you don't like to be intimate with the lights on. Let them know. And maybe have a talk about it before that time and say the reasons why. Help them to understand you. And this is not just for women. This is for men as well. All of us have our hang-ups and things that make us peculiar and unique. Building that safety is really, really important in all areas of your life. The last one I'm going to talk about now is also spiritual safety. And when I talk about spiritual safety, I'm Christian, so I make a lot of Christian references. The Bible says we should not be unequally yoked, and a lot of people interpret that to mean that you should not have anything to do with people that are not born again Christians or people that are not of the same faith as you or whatever. But I like to think about it that you should not be found with people who make you feel spiritually unsafe, in the sense that they compromise your salvation. You know what I'm talking about. You know the kind of friends I'm talking about. The kind of people who, when you are with them, you become something else entirely. You are not the kind of person that you thought that you were. They bring out something different in you, So you feel like, we're going out together. The night can end anywhere. In that situation, within your body that you're unsafe. You can't get drunk because you feel like, or you can't drink because you feel like, if I drink, I'm going to lose guard and these people can do anything to me. Or in context of a romantic relationship, you can't leave your ATM somewhere because you feel like, if I do that. Or you can't leave your underwear. You know how you go somewhere and maybe you want to wash your underwear and hang it in the bathroom. You feel like, I beg go, I can't leave my underwear here, or I can't leave my sanitary towel here. I don't know what they will do with it. Those kind of, when you start to think like that, you're not supposed to be there. That is a sign that you're not supposed to be there. When you feel like you're going through something spiritually, and you can't talk to your friends about it. I'm not talking about all your friends. You should have at least one friend that you feel spiritually safe with, that you can say, my prayer life, I need to do something about it. And then they will say, actually, there's this Bible study course, or there's this pastor that does this, or this, someone that can contain and support and help you grow spiritually. In my experience, I found that, looking at my prayer point books, I sometimes look at the old ones. There was one I found from 2015 or 2016 where I was praying for my friends and their names were in it and the needs that we had at that time. And like almost 5-6 years later, finding that book just gave me so much joy. Like, God, the things that were prayer points now are things that it has become our reality and we have surpassed it. And we just all kind of got together and just thanked God for where we were now. Even if we have new needs now, but God has shown himself faithful in those circumstances in the past. That is an altar on which we can stand to say that he will do what we are asking now. Friends that you can have those kind of discussions with, people that will not laugh at you. If you're a Muslim, same thing. You should have friends who believe in your faith, people who uphold you spiritually, people who, when you're going through something, you can say, please pray for me, these are my prayer points, and you don't feel like you have exposed too much. You don't feel like you have become open to attack from them. So if you have those kind of people around you who make you feel vulnerable in that way, you are not spiritually safe. So you need to find people who can uphold you, who can pray with you. And of course, salvation is individual. You can safeguard yourself, but we all need help. We all need the brethren. That is why there's fellowship. So whatever your relationship is, whatever your religion is, you need people who also believe in what you believe, to uphold you spiritually. And that is where I'm just going to end this when we talk about safety in relationships. So physical safety, emotional safety, spiritual safety. Look at the circumstances in which you feel unsafe in those three domains and start to work on them. Start to build a system where you feel safe in yourself, because only from a place of safety can you launch out to fulfill your destiny, to fulfill purpose, to be the person that you dream you want to be. If you are unsafe, that is a primary need for everybody. We all need that sense of safety to be able to do things. And sometimes fear can actually motivate people, but safety is much a stronger motivation, because you know that when you land, you will be caught. Thank you very much for listening to me this morning. Take care of yourself, and please subscribe, share, ask your friends to subscribe. We have a newsletter. Ask them to subscribe. The link is usually in the description to the newsletter. And we have a blog. Yes, so everything that I usually do a video on is also transcribed into a blog and a podcast. So just search on Spotify or wherever you listen to podcasts for Mind of Makus. Search online for mindofmakus.com, on Instagram Mind of Makus as well. Subscribe, share, because it is important that things that make sense actually get to as many people as possible. Take care of yourself, okay? Bye.